Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, ABP Network, for having me here. Today, I'm sharing the stage with some of the most prominent global individuals, so thank you very much. Before we begin, this is my first appearance after I lost my brother last month, so I'd like for all of us, if you wish, to just take 5 seconds to remember him. His name was Agnivesh. And that's really something that is very important, because when we talk about ideas of India, one of the most powerful and the biggest strengths of India is family, and something that we really, really hold closely, and we must continue to hold closely, because that really is one of the reasons for India's success. When I first heard the name Ideas of India, I paused, because it's such a generous word, ideas. Not one idea, not the correct idea, ideas, plural. Simultaneous, sometimes contradictory, we've seen that, but all valid. And that felt right to me, because India has never been one thing. In my own home, it certainly isn't. For my daughter Mahi, an 11-year-old, she's already much more moral than most of the adults I know. India is uncomplicated kindness. A country where every human being, and yes, every street animal, is treated with dignity. She doesn't see why that shouldn't be difficult. For my husband Akarsh, India is a digital frontier, a nation being rewired in real time, where technology is not just changing what we do, but who we've become and who we can become. For my father, Priya Agarwal, India is the unstoppable nation. A Viksit Bharat, not someday, now, always now. I used to think that these were three separate Indians: the compassionate India, the digital India, the ambitious India. But they're not separate at all. They're the same India, seen through different windows. An India that uses ambition of industry and the power of technology to deliver the equality my daughter already assumes as matter of course. As I stand here today, because I work in one of the industry that literally builds that India from below the ground up. I come from the mining and natural resources sector, an industry that rarely gets invited to conversations about imagination, but it quietly enables it. So when I think about India's future, I think about the foundation beneath it. But let me tell you a paradox that keeps me up at night. A lot of this conversation just happened before me. We're living through a resource revolution. India has committed to 500 gigawatts of non-fossil fuel energy capacity by 2030. But for this, we require wind power, solar power, battery storage, electric vehicles. And here's the paradox. Electric vehicles uses 2 to 4 times more copper than traditional cars. Solar plants require 4 to 6 times more minerals than fossil fuel plants. Wind power requires 9 times more mineral resources per megawatt than gas. The clean energy transition is not a post-mining world, it is a mining-powered world. The World Bank said that for the energy transition to happen successfully, we need $1.7 trillion in mining investment worldwide. Zinc, aluminium, copper, silver, oil and gas. These are not relics of the past. They are the raw materials of the future. And yet, in India, one of the stark initiatives that keeps me up at night is that barely 6% of this workforce building the foundation are women. 6%. And with International Women's Day just around the corner, I thought this was the right room to say this plainly. In an industry that will define the next 50 years of human civilization, we are building it with half our people standing outside the door. If India has to become a $10 trillion economy, if Viksit Bharat 2047 is to be the real and has to be real, we cannot grow at 6 or 7% while engaging only a fraction of our potential. Female labor force participation in India has improved, but it remains far below what our talent pool demands. Global studies consistently show that closing the gender gap could add hundreds of billions of dollars to India's GDP. Inclusion is not a social add-on, it is economic acceleration. I grew up in the shadow of mines and in the heat of the smelters. There has always been a certain drama to mining, grit, scale, men emerging heroically covered in dust, very 1970s Amitabh Bachchan style. But proximity to an industry is not the same thing as belonging in it. Few years ago, when I visited our smelters and mines, there was always this slight double take. A lot of times when I used to walk around, people used to say, "Good morning, sir." "Sorry, ma'am." That subtle recalibration that told me this space was not designed with me in mind. The exclusion was not intentional. It was structural, inherited. Mining was physical, physical was male, and male was default. But that assumption is already today obsolete. Mining today is satellite imaging mapping ore bodies from space. It is AI predicting equipment failure before an alarm sounds. It is remote operated machinery controlled from digital rooms. It is data scientists, environmental engineers, robotic specialists. The future of mining is technology, and technology does not have a gender. So we asked a simple question: who is the best person for this job? And we answered it honestly. We built India's first all-women underground mining team. We built India's first underground all-women mine rescue team. We built India's first underground all-women aluminium potline. We built India's first all-women locomotive operators, and we built an all-women power unit across our power teams. This is not symbolism. This is strategy. Today, women make up 23% of Vedanta's workforce in an industry where the average is only 6%. This is not cosmetic change, this is structural redesign. But 23% is not our destination. It is only proof of concept that we can do this. And these women, trust me, are really driving and have made the productivity better, have made the cost more efficient, and are ensuring sustainability and safety standards to a different level. As we embark on a historic demerger that we are creating at Vedanta, creating 5 independent world-class companies, diversity is not an afterthought. It is architecture. Our primary goal is 35% women across every entity at Vedanta, at entry level and beyond. And the final goal is 50% of women working across our workforce. Not someday, not selectively, across the board. Because the companies that unlock 100% of talent will outperform the ones that don't. I remember visiting a night shift at one of our mines. At the safety briefing stood Bhavna. Very calm, very composed, very like she belonged, completely at home. Afterwards, a senior operator with 20 years of underground mining experience said something I will never forget. He casually said, "Priya, we have stopped noticing who is women and who is not. We only notice who is good. We only notice who is good." And that really is the goal. Not celebration, normalization. But transformation cannot stop at the factory gate. Because the women who will lead our mines and our boardrooms in the future, many of them are sitting today in villages across Rajasthan, across Orissa, across Goa, wondering whether engineering or science could ever belong to them. We decided we didn't want to wait for them to find us. We wanted to go out and get them. This year alone, through our community outreach initiative, over 10,000 women and girls have been benefited from our STEM-linked programs. In the past 3 years, that number exceeds 50,000. 50,000 doors open just by us reaching out. Each one of those interactions is a door being opened that might otherwise have stayed shut. A girl who learns that mathematics is not just a male subject, a young woman who sees a complex piece of machinery and thinks, "I can build this." A mother who begins to believe that her daughter's ambition is not a problem to be managed, but a future to be invested in. Because inclusion is not just about who works in your company, it's about who imagines that they can. We are not just changing who works in our industry, we are changing who imagines working in it. And that is where transformation actually begins. I want to tell you one more story about a young girl, Sakshi. Sakshi was the first woman in her family to ever work outside her home. When she told her father she wanted to join an underground mining team, he said, "This is not the kind of work women in our family do." What was her reply? She told me very proudly. I said, "I told my father, then I will be the first." Today, Sakshi operates heavy machinery and trains cohorts of new joinees. She has changed her family's story. Now no one can tell her children or her grandchildren, women can't do this job. When I was young, I would travel with my father to the sites. I was welcomed, but I never thought I belonged because I didn't see anyone else like me there. So today, to that little girl in the back seat of her father's car who wanted to be part of this world, she was right to want it. And what she couldn't have known then, what I know now, is that the world was already beginning to change to make space for her. And for Bhavna, and for Sakshi, and for the 50,000 girls who are right now beginning to imagine something larger than what anyone around them has yet attempted, we are rewriting the story of an Indian history. We're demonstrating with real numbers and real people that 50,000 lives and counting, that profit and purpose are not a trade-off. They are the same mission, and they always were. To every woman engineer, scientist, and dreamer in this room, and to everyone who's beyond this room as well, this is your moment, this is your time. You don't have to wait for permission. You are here, you are ready, and so are we. My daughter believes dignity is a default. My husband believes possibility is infinite. My father believes in relentless ambition. But we must believe in all of it. We have to believe in 100% India. Because when anyone asks us at Vedanta how we'll get from 23% to 35% to 50% women in mining, we only have one answer: watch us. Thank you.